Dubai is dazzling. Skyscrapers scrape the clouds, gold glints in every corner, and the malls, well, they're impossible to describe without sounding like a tourist brochure. And yet, there I was, sweating slightly in a cramped cafe on Sheikh Zayed Road, hunched over my laptop like a desperate student, hunting for free Wi-Fi. I know. Morals were optional, apparently, because the network I'd found wasn't public. It was clearly private, secure behind a sign that said, staff only. But the little connected icon taunting me from my screen? Irresistible. Looking for Wi-Fi? A smooth voice asked. I looked up and froze. He was tall, impossibly well dressed for a cafe worker, black slim fit shirt, trousers that probably cost more than my rent. And those hazel eyes, God, they sparkled like he knew exactly how much trouble he could stir. Yes, I admitted, voice barely audible. And clearly I'm in the wrong place. He smirked. Maybe, or maybe you just need the right guide. I should have been embarrassed. I should have gotten up, walked out, maybe reconsidered my life choices. But the magnetic pull in his gaze, the teasing curl of his lips, made me stay rooted to the spot. Before I knew it, he'd slid onto the stool beside me. Tell you what, he said casually, I can get you online. But there's a price. Price? I echoed, heart racing. You'll see, he said, leaning closer. That faint scent of cologne, spicy, warm, impossible, hit me in the chest and made my stomach coil. I laughed nervously. I should go. Or you could stay. His smile was infuriating, perfect, and utterly unresistible. And I stayed. Because apparently my morals were negotiable when free Wi-Fi, and someone like him was involved. The cafe hummed around us, oblivious of the tension coiling between two strangers in a city that never sleeps. He leaned over my shoulder. Just type this password, he murmured, his lips dangerously close to my ear. I shivered. Right, password, I muttered, fumbling. Careful, he teased. Don't want to break the connection. I laughed, though my pulse was insane. Every brush of his arm against mine, every accidental touch, felt like sparks. I'd come for Wi-Fi and maybe, just maybe, I'd found something far more dangerous. Now you're online, he said finally, but you know, it's only fair you owe me something in return. I glanced at him. And what would that be? He leaned back, eyes darkening with amusement. Time. Just a little time with me. For moral debts. I should have said no. I should have left immediately. But Dubai had a way of twisting logic. And I, apparently, had a way of following temptation straight off a moral cliff. After that first encounter in the cafe, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Dorian Blackwell, a name as smooth and rare as the way he moved. He'd given me the Wi-Fi password with a wink that felt like a challenge, and I hadn't been able to forget it or him. A few nights later, I found myself wandering the glittering streets of Dubai Marina, clutching my laptop like a lifeline. I didn't know why I expected to run into him, but Dubai had a way of surprising you in the weirdest ways. And sure enough, there he was, leaning casually against a pillar, checking his phone, looking impossibly composed and dangerous. Fancy seeing you here, he said, voice low and smooth, that teasing curl at the corner of his lips threatening to undo me on the spot. I was just... Looking for Wi-Fi again? He interrupted, smirk widening. Or maybe looking for me? I laughed nervously, heart hammering. Maybe a little of both. He stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating off him. My pulse leapt. Careful, I said, though the warning sounded weak even to my own ears. Careful? He echoed, eyes glinting. With me? You're already too late. I should have left. I really should have. But there was a magnetic pull between us, one that I couldn't and didn't want to resist. We ended up at a nearby rooftop bar, the city lights glimmering below us like liquid gold. He ordered drinks for us, and the conversation flowed effortlessly, teasing and playful. Every laugh, Every accidental brush of his hand against mine sent shivers down my spine. The alcohol loosened us both, blurring boundaries and making each glance, each smile, feel like a silent promise. "Dorian," I whispered, leaning a little closer. He replied, voice low, teasing, dangerous. All of this? I gestured vaguely, heart racing. It feels wrong, but also irresistible. He smiled, slow, deliberate. That's the point. Minutes later, the playful teasing became more daring. His hand brushed mine on the table, lingering longer than necessary. My stomach coiled. Every look, every touch was a silent confession. By the time we left the bar, I was trembling with anticipation. "Walk me home," I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, slipping his hand into mine. That simple touch, warm, intentional, felt like a spark setting my nerves ablaze. Every step was charged with electricity. Every glance a silent dare. By the time we reached my apartment, we were breathless, hearts hammering, standing impossibly close. He leaned in, lips hovering near mine. "You know," he murmured, voice low and teasing, "I could do this all night. And I'd let you," I admitted, chest heaving. One tentative kiss led to another, deeper and more urgent. Hands explored lightly at first, testing, teasing, before finding more daring paths. The night stretched long, filled with shivers, gasps, and whispered confessions. For a moment, morals were irrelevant. There was only the thrill of being close to him, of exploring this dangerous, intoxicating connection. By the time we finally pulled apart, hearts racing and breaths mingling, I knew one thing for sure. I was addicted. To him. To this. To losing myself in the chaos of desire and temptation that Dorian Blackwell carried effortlessly, and I was completely okay with it. It started with a glance, subtle but loaded, as we stood in my apartment after that rooftop bar night. Dorian leaned against the counter, casually sipping his drink, but every movement he made seemed designed to test my restraint. "You're staring," he said softly, a smirk tugging at his lips. "I am not," I stammered, though my heart betrayed me with every thump. "Liar," he whispered, stepping closer, closing the distance between us. The warmth radiating from him made my pulse spike. "I like it when you stare." Before I could protest, his hand brushed mine, deliberate, intimate. Electricity shot through me, and I realized that all the teasing, the flirting, the playful moral compromises, they had been leading to this. He tilted my chin up gently, eyes locking with mine. "Do you want this?" he asked, voice low, sultry, dangerous. I swallowed hard, heat pooling in my chest. "Yes," I admitted. That single word shattered the last remnants of restraint. His lips met mine in a slow, deliberate kiss, teasing, tasting, demanding attention. My hand slid over his shoulders, memorizing the feel of him, the strength and warmth. Every brush of skin, every shiver, every gasp drew us closer, deeper into an intimacy that neither of us wanted to end. We moved to the couch, the city lights outside painting us in golden shadows. Every touch was electric, every whispered laugh and breathless confession intensifying the moment. Dorian's fingers traced my arms, my chest, lingering with deliberate intent. I returned the favor, mapping him in a dance of mutual discovery and unspoken desire. "Dorian," I whispered, voice trembling. "Sure," he murmured, pressing a kiss to my temple. "We have all night." The tension broke like a wave, and we let it carry us. Every touch, every kiss, every heated glance was a silent confession of longing and temptation. Morals, labels, and logic melted away in the warmth of the moment. Hours passed in a blur of laughter, gasps, and shivers. We explored boundaries, tested limits, and surrendered fully to the thrill of the forbidden. In those moments, it didn't matter who was straight or what was right. There was only us, the heat between our bodies, and the undeniable pull that had been building since that first Wi-Fi password. By the time the night ended, we were tangled together on the couch, hearts racing, breath mingling, bodies pressed close. Dorian traced patterns on my arm with his fingers, eyes soft and satisfied. "You know," he whispered, voice husky with contentment. This was worth losing some morals for." I laughed softly, leaning against him. "I think I've lost a lot more than morals tonight. And I wouldn't change a thing," he murmured, pulling me closer. For the first time that night, I felt entirely unashamed. Desire had led us here. Temptation had carried us past the point of no return. And yet, it was perfect. Flawed, thrilling, intoxicating, but perfect. And as the city hummed softly outside the windows, I realized something vital. Sometimes, the rules exist to be broken. Sometimes, losing your morals just a little is the only way to find the moments that make life unforgettable. I woke to sunlight spilling through the blinds, hot and golden, spreading across the couch where Dorian and I were still tangled together. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming. The weight of his arm across my chest, the warmth of his breath against my shoulder, the faint trace of his cologne still lingering on my skin. But no, it was real. The night had happened. Every kiss, every laugh, every shiver, it was all burned into me. Dorian stirred beside me, blinking awake slowly, his hair messy, his voice rough. "Morning," he murmured, lips brushing my skin. "Morning," I replied, smiling nervously. My chest fluttered. This man, this impossibly dangerous stranger, who had once been nothing more than a smug cafe worker with the keys to Wi-Fi, was now something I couldn't imagine not having. He stretched, leaned back, and gave me that smirk, the same one that had undone me from the start. So was the Wi-Fi worth it? I laughed, covering my face with my hands. "Don't remind me. I basically sold my soul for free internet." "Correction," he said, tugging my hands away gently. "You gave me your time. And maybe a little more than that." I swallowed hard, heat rushing through me. "Do you regret it?" I asked, the question heavy, fragile. Dorian's eyes softened in a way I hadn't expected. He leaned closer, pressing a slow, deliberate kiss to my lips. Not for a second. Something shifted inside me. Last night had been about temptation, about surrendering to a thrill I hadn't thought myself capable of. But this morning, this moment, it was about something else entirely. It was about connection, about the undeniable truth that we had found something neither of us had been looking for, but both of us needed. The rest of the morning blurred into comfort. Coffee brewed in my tiny kitchen, his laughter echoing against the walls. Casual touches that felt far too natural for something so new. He leaned on the counter while I fumbled with the mugs, watching me with that same teasing smile. "You know," he said, sipping slowly, "I don't usually do this." "Neither do I admitted. "I don't usually lose my morals for free Wi-Fi." He laughed, shaking his head. "That's one way to put it. And maybe it was ridiculous. Maybe it was impulsive, reckless, even a little shameful. But it also felt right." Later, as we walked along the marina, the city buzzed with life around us, Dorian slid his hand into mine without hesitation. People bustled past, caught up in their own stories, their own temptations. But for us, the world felt smaller, just two men daring to step into something neither of us could deny anymore. "Do you ever think about what happens next?" I asked softly. He glanced at me, expression unreadable at first, then softened. "I think about now," he said simply. "And right now, I want this. I want you." I exhaled, relief flooding me. "Good. Because I don't think I can pretend last night didn't happen." "Neither can I," he said, squeezing my hand. "So no regrets?" I smiled, heart hammering as I looked at him, at the city shimmering in the heat, at the absurd, reckless path that had brought us here. No regrets. We kissed again, right there in the open, under the glare of the Dubai sun, and the curious eyes of strangers. It wasn't about Wi-Fi anymore. It was about us, unexpected, forbidden, intoxicating, and absolutely real. And in that moment, I knew I hadn't just lost my morals. I'd found something worth far more. Weeks passed, and what began as a joke about Wi-Fi became something deeper. We met often, sometimes in cafes, sometimes in my apartment, sometimes wandering the glittering city streets. Each time, the pull between us grew stronger, more undeniable. Dorian still teased me about selling out for free internet, and I still pretended to be ashamed. But every time his lips brushed mine, every time his hand found mine in a crowded street, I knew I'd make the same choice 1,000 times over. After all, connections aren't always about routers and passwords. Sometimes they're about something far riskier, far more intoxicating. Sometimes losing your morals is just the beginning.